Imagine hearing a speech, and within months, selling everything you own to march thousands of miles into enemy territory, knowing most people around you probably won't survive. That actually happened in 1095. What followed became one of the strangest, bloodiest, and most unbelievable military campaigns in medieval history. A starving, chaotic, badly organized expedition somehow captured Jerusalem, not because it was unstoppable, but because history sometimes makes no sense. If you saw my previous 4 videos, you've already glimpsed this story through the eyes of the people who lived it. A minor knight hearing the call, Peter the Hermit stirring the crowds, an engineer at Jerusalem's walls, even Pope Paschal II receiving news of the impossible. Now here's how it all connects. Europe in 1095 was violent, fractured, and deeply religious. Imagine a world where politics, war, and eternal salvation were all tangled together, and everyone believed the fate of their soul was real. At the same time, the Byzantine Empire was under serious pressure from Turkish expansion. Emperor Alexios needed help, and turned west. Pope Urban II saw a moment to act, defend fellow Christians, project authority, and unite Europe behind a holy cause. Then came the speech, "Fight for God. Go east, your sins forgiven." For thousands listening, it must have sounded like destiny itself. And people responded immediately. Nobles, peasants, priests, opportunists, thousands committed themselves to a journey they barely understood. Because to them, this wasn't just politics or land or war. This was eternity, salvation, meaning. But belief is one thing. Actually surviving a march across continents into hostile territory, that was something else entirely. This was not a disciplined professional army. It was an armed migration, knights beside peasants, zealots beside drifters, families beside hardened fighters. Quick reality check. If you joined this expedition, your odds of dying before ever reaching Jerusalem were disturbingly high. Hunger, disease, internal conflict, terrible logistics, leadership disputes. The crusade nearly destroyed itself long before the enemy could. Then came Antioch, one of the most brutal sieges of the entire campaign. Months of suffering, starvation, fear, and exhaustion. And after finally taking the city, the Crusaders found themselves trapped inside it, surrounded by enemy reinforcements. More than once, this entire expedition looked completely finished. Like history had reached its obvious ending, and yet somehow battered survivors kept moving east. Not because conditions improved, but because turning back no longer felt possible. Then, at last, they saw it. Jerusalem. But seeing Jerusalem was not victory. It only meant the hardest part was beginning. And if you watched the engineer point of view video, you know what came next. Siege warfare, slow, brutal, technical, and desperate. There was little water, brutal heat, constant pressure. By every practical measure, this assault should have failed, so they adapted. Timber was salvaged, even from ships. Siege towers were built, attack plans shifted. Everything became one final desperate gamble. And here's the part that still feels unbelievable. It worked. In July 1099, Jerusalem fell after years of marching, fighting, starvation, and near collapse. What followed was brutal. Mass killing, religious violence, celebration for some, horror for others, victory and atrocity occupying the same moment. That's where history gets uncomfortable, because winning does not automatically make a cause righteous. The First Crusade succeeded because belief, desperation, improvisation, leadership, luck, and fractured opposition collided at exactly the right time. This was not a flawless military masterpiece. It was a chaotic, improbable triumph held together by persistence and conviction. And if medieval history has ever felt confusing, that's exactly why this channel exists, to make the Middle Ages understandable through the people who lived it. So subscribe, because next week we're doing this again. 4 short point of view videos drop you into history, followed by the full story.